How's it going, guys? Just want to preface this video. I sat down with vice president of a small insurance brokerage here in Miami, Andor. Just want to say huge thank you, dude. That was awesome. I did half an hour interview with this guy. I picked his brains, talked about a bunch of different things, how to get the best possible price for your insurance, how to make sure you're not overpaying for insurance, how to pick out an insurance company, how to find a broker for your insurance that you should be working with. Because I don't think you should be looking for insurance yourself, because when you work with the broker, you're going to get a better price, you're going to get a better deal. What to do if you get into a car accident, how to properly report things to police, what you should be reporting to police and what you shouldn't be reporting. What should you be reporting to insurance companies and what you shouldn't be reporting. I mean, this guy, he had phenomenal, just extremely valuable information. I picked his brain for half an hour. So what you need to know about car insurance from A to Z, let's get started. So I got some questions here,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna
Go for it.
go. All right. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's roll. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this episode. You were asking me to find somebody who is a professional at insurance, and you had a lot of questions, and I was doing my best to answer them, but we got a pro. Why pretend when we don't have to?
This is what I do, so I'm here to help.
I contacted this guy completely out of nowhere, just Googled a couple of brokers here in Miami, and this guy answered. Actually, your marketing agent answered.
That's
and
what she did good.
So what do you do here? You're a VP pretty much. You're
Correct.
almost the boss.
Well, I'm the VP of sales. So my job is to make sure that all the producers, all the agents here at Miami Insurance Brokers is selling and insuring everybody correctly and competitively. So I basically overrun all the sales in the agency, and we do have 15 to 20 producers here. So that we do take on a lot of volume. Miami is massive, and so is South Florida.
Yeah.
So I overview, but I also sell. So I read a lot of policy wording, and I have to keep up to date with the market, with the automotive market and any insurance market, because everything is always changing.
Oh, absolutely.
So, you have Teslas with self-driving vehicles. What happens if that crashes? Whose fault is it?
That is, oh boy.
So that's when I have to start reading new policy wording and making sure we know how to address, the consumer or the client when that scenario happens. So.
Gotcha. So the first question is, you guys been asking me what's the best insurance company? And in my opinion, my humble, unbiased opinion, I don't think there's one the best. I don't think there's one that's best for everybody. I think there's going to be one best for you. And that's why I recommend that you guys go with an insurance broker. And can you tell a little bit more about that, why people should go with an insurance broker instead of going through like Geico or Allstate or whatever?
It's a great question. So it is something a lot of people ask all the time. And in general, we are an insurance agency, insurance broker, so we don't represent one insurance company. We represent you. So our job is to make sure you're always insured correctly and you have the best price. If it's with Progressive or it's with Liberty Mutual or if it's with Foremost, Infinity, all these different insurance companies that we represent, we'll go ahead and shop you around. You guys obviously have your normal day jobs. You don't know insurance. So our job is to know insurance. Whenever you have an issue or whenever we need to quote you, we know all the discounts to apply. So sometimes when you quote Progressive directly yourself, I might be able to quote Progressive for cheaper, only because I know to add all of these available discounts that you might have not been available. So if your renewal comes in and your renewal premium increases, which we know that happens all the time, we will go ahead and reshop you around. You don't even have to ask. It's just what we do because, again, we represent you. We're looking to make sure you always have the best price at all times. So that's one of the benefits, one of the main benefits of having an insurance agent is because we're going to go ahead and reshop you around every renewal to make sure you always have the best price. You don't have to see a big increase and say, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Am I going to now call another insurance company, start requoting? You don't know what you're doing because of all the coverage and language and deductible. So we basically hold your hand through the whole process and just do it all.
Gotcha. So this guy pretty much does what I do with cars. I shop cars. I want to make sure that the person is getting the best possible deal, and you are here to make sure the person is getting the best possible insurance, whether it's somebody who is looking for the cheapest possible insurance or somebody who is looking to insure a Ferrari. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. There's a few different types of insurances, right?
Correct.
There's the cheapest one, then there's one to insure the other car, then there's one to insure the property. Can you talk a little bit about what the person should be looking for, different types of insurances, and so the person is not underinsured or overinsured for, I mean, they're driving a $2,000 Honda Civic, but they're paying insane amount of insurance.
Exactly. So just like he was saying, in automotive insurance, there's going to be coverage for your own car, and that's basically just going to be called comprehensive or collision coverage. And then there's going to be coverage for liability, which is the other individual who is driving on the road. If, God forbid, you crash into another individual, then that type of liability coverage will cover them. If you crash into a tree or someone crashes into your car and they don't have insurance, that comprehensive and collision coverage will be able to provide repairs for your own car. And the easiest and fastest way to know if you have that coverage is simply by opening up your declaration page and seeing if you have a deductible applied to comprehensive or collision. If you look at and it says comprehensive collision and it says not applicable or it doesn't even show it, that means you don't have any coverage for your own car. Another quick, easy way is if you just look at your ID card that you probably have in your wallet or in your car that you have to show to the officer, that ID card is going to say a very quick summary of what coverages you have. It's going to say bodily injury. It's going to be a square box, either check mark, and then it would show comprehensive collision with either a check box that has a check or an empty box. So that's a quick way of knowing if you have that coverage or not. Depending on the vehicle you drive, you want to make sure it has that type of coverage, because sometimes comprehensive collision, especially here in Florida with hurricanes and all of this damages with the floods that can really damage your own car, it's important to know if you have a car with good value or a collectible car to see if you have that coverage and what your deductible could be.
Mm-hmm. And what about the one that insures the property?
Yeah, so
if you rent somebody's house, for example,
so, in bodily injury, well, in liability, so that's like the second option that we were talking about previously, that's going to have 3 layers of coverage. It's going to be, the first layer is going to be bodily injury per person. Mm-hmm. The second one is going to be bodily injury per accident. Mm-hmm. And then the third option is going to be property damage. Mm-hmm. So if someone has 5,100 mm-hmm. and then 50, so it's going to be 5,100 and 50 with a slash each, that's going to be 50,000 per person, 100,000 maximum in an accident, and then 50,000 property damage. So if there are 3 people in the vehicle and they are severely hurt, sent into the hospital, you know that the maximum that the insurance company is going to pay for an individual person is 50,000, and the maximum it's going to pay in total is going to be 100,000. Mm-hmm. So if each person has 50,000 in damages, it's not going to pay the 150. It's mm-hmm. going to cap it at 100,000. So it might mm-hmm. pay 33,000 each person. Mm-hmm. And then the property damage, which is the third number under the liability aspect on your auto policy, that's going to cover property damage. Mm-hmm. And that essentially means property damage to others, not your own property. So if you crash into another person's vehicle, that is what's going to repair the other person's vehicle. Or if you crash into someone's mailboxes or a tree or anything that you can think of, basically that is property damage of others. Don't forget, property damage of your own is called comprehensive and collision. But property damage on your policy is specifically for other people. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. Now, I seen a commercial not too long ago on YouTube. I forgot who it was from, but it really emphasized kids moving away from their parents' insurance and getting their own insurance. What do you think about that for young drivers, especially those that are under 25? What is the best thing they can do?
Not go away from your parents' insurance. No, so you really, again, that's what we do. Uh-huh. For instance, today, I actually just had the same example. Mm-hmm. And contrary to what we had spoken before, I know I was telling you that most of the time when you stay on your parents' policy, mm-hmm. you're able to utilize all of their discounts. Because keep in mind, if you're a 23-year-old, you don't have all the discounts that your parents can have. One marriage discount sometimes is 15 to 25% discount. If you're a 23-year-old, you don't have that. You can't even apply that discount, which you can now have on your car because you're on your mom's policy. Homeowners discount, prior insurance discount, good credit discount. All of these discounts you're more likely to have by being automatically in your parents' policy. Now, in the instance today that I was quoting with one of my clients, the daughter was born in 1996, so she's 23. But the father does have a few violations, a few accidents. So by actually taking the daughter outside of the policy and insuring her alone, 23-year-old alone, was less expensive than having her on the father's policy just because the father had a lot of accidents, because that affects every driver on the policy.
Gotcha.
So in reality, there is no right answer. You basically have to contact an agent, or you just have to quote all the different scenarios. And we'll go ahead and reshop you around, quoting it under a mother's name or a father's name, or taking you out, seeing if it's cheaper quoting with you alone if you're a young driver. But you honestly have to try. But most of the time, I would say above 75% of the time, it will be less expensive by still being in your parents' policy, mainly because you can apply all those discounts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Another question that people ask me fairly often, because I used to repair cars, and I personally love rebuild titles because they are just goddamn cheap.
Yeah, no, you get a great price.
What about somebody who, let's say, buys a rebuilt title car, right, and they are afraid that they can't insure it? Are there insurances that will insure it?
Of course, 100% actually. Yeah, so I get that question asked all the time. They're like, hey, this car is a rebuilt, or, salvage title is going to be very hard to insure because obviously a salvage title shouldn't be on the street. But a rebuilt title has to be fully approved
by the state. Has gone through inspection.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the DOT that has to basically approve it, but it has to go through all approval to be eligible to be considered safe and drivable on the streets. And the insurance company is going to go ahead and insure you no problem. I know from the top 5 or 6 carriers that we work with, it's not a problem. The only thing that they want to ensure that is, God forbid, the car goes missing or you total the car. They're not going to give you what the car would have cost if it wasn't a rebuilt vehicle originally.
Yeah, it's not a way to make money here.
It's not a way to make money. So, if you buy a 2017 BMW 7 Series that is rebuilt title for $18,000 and the car goes missing, they're not going to give you a $40,000 payout. They're going to give you $18,000 or $15,000 because they would see the registration as a rebuilt title. But as long as the title is not salvaged and is rebuilt, there really shouldn't be much of an issue. Now, there are a few carriers that do not like rebuilt titles, but those are not the most common carriers.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like if somebody doesn't work with you, that's totally fine.
No, 100%. But that's when an agent would be very helpful because they would go to the carriers that they know don't have any problems with rebuilt titles.
Yeah, and guys, don't get me wrong. Like this guy's not paying me. I'm not paying him. Right? There's no sneaky business going on. The reason that I make this is because you have the questions, and I was like, I'll just bring a pro here, and this guy is the pro. I mean, he has the suit. Let me hold on. Let me ask a couple more questions. Why does... Okay, another question. What are the 3 biggest factors for the lowest interest rate? Okay, next question that I want to ask is, what are the 3 biggest factors for getting the lowest interest rate? 3 things that people can do?
Like in terms of a good price on an auto policy?
Absolutely.
For sure. No, the most important item... Well, I'm going to answer it reversely.
Okay, let's go.
I would say what are the 3 biggest things that increase your prices? Because that would make the 3 most important things to not do.
Okay, I can work with that.
Yeah,
I can work with that.
If you get a speeding ticket, seatbelt violation, you made a right on a red light and you decided to fight it or pay it, or 5 miles an hour over, those little tickets might cost $178, but your insurance will increase maybe $300 every 6 months for 5 years.
Damn.
So that's $600, $3,000. So that $178 ticket, just because you were lazy and didn't decide to go to a ticket clinic or fight it in court and you just paid it, you're pleading guilty, you're now going to pay $3,000 more in insurance for it. And I've seen the cases all the time where it's a seatbelt violation, then a speeding at 10 miles an hour, or an improper turn, 3 of them, and the guy's paying so much money. And all he had to do was pay the $75 or $85 at ticket clinic to fight it. You might have a little bit of court fees if, if he charges you or she charges you, but the most important thing is to have a clean driving record, motor vehicle report. The second one is of course not having a lapse in coverage. No matter what, as soon as you have a lapse in coverage, if you let your auto policy expire.
What does that mean, lapse in coverage?
Lapse in coverage means that you didn't have insurance active or in effect for any time.
So always have continuous insurance from one to another. Correct. That's why I tell people, you gotta shop.
You gotta shop, and if there's ever a point where you can't make the payment, make sure to reshop. Don't let the policy cancel, because if you were paying $220 a month and you couldn't make that payment that month, and then you let the policy cancel, and then now you're gonna reshop, you're gonna see that now you can't get anything cheaper than $280. Even if you go back to the company that was at $220, they're gonna be at $270 or $290, because as soon as you have a lapse in coverage, you no longer have continuous coverage, and it's a big red flag, a big penalty for insurance companies. But the driving record, honestly, is the most important thing. As soon as you have any violations, any claims, anything, your premium is going to increase drastically. And that's something I always tell people to keep in mind, that if you have a very small fender bender and it was your fault and you need to open up a claim on your own policy or any of that, you want to make sure that does it make sense to open up the policy. Don't forget, the insurance is there to really cover you when
you really need it.
When there's a big accident, when the car gets totaled, or when someone goes to the hospital and they're, $50,000 in medical bills. But I see all the time that a policy goes from $1,000 every 6 months to $1,800 every 6 months. So it went up 80% just because they decided to open up a $200 claim. They had a $500 deductible. It was $700 to repair it. They decided to open it up, and now they're paying $1,600 a year for 3 to 5 years. And I always say, it's good, it would pay, but you have to see what would be the effects. And I can agree with you guys, with the consumers, with all my clients more, because I have insurance myself, and if you use it, they're going to increase your price. It's kind of like unfair. So why do you have it?
It is.
I have a claim for $1,000. Now I have to decide, oh my goodness, do I really want to open up the claim, because now the price is going to go up. It sucks, but it's really there for if someone goes to the hospital and they sue you for $50,000, you don't have to pay. Now it's really there for it. But you have to keep in mind also if there's ever that small claim that would really hurt you in the future. So as long as you keep those 2 to 3 items that we just kind of mentioned in control and clean, the prices should drastically decrease, or it should stay low if you're currently paying a good price.
Gotcha. Okay. Another question. Why is it I think I answered all the 'cause I don't want to keep you, I don't want to keep you here for 3 freaking hours.
You're fine.
But I answered all the, the really,
the important questions.
Yeah, all the questions that people were asking me. Do you think I should ask you 2 or 3 questions that you think that are important?
Yeah, I mean, I know last time we spoke about that if you get into an accident, what do you do?
Ooh, I like that one.
That was a good one.
Okay.
It's a lot of people don't know.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay. The next question is going to be, you got the insurance, you're paying the right amount. What happens if you get into a car accident, whether it's your fault or it's not your fault? What should somebody do? Let's say it's not their fault.
And very, very important, because when you get into an accident, you forget everything. You got adrenaline rush. You're like, oh my God. You're forgetting. You don't know what to do. Thankfully, on the back of your ID card, there's a number on there. But before you call your insurance company, there's a few items and few steps that you should take prior. And it's very important to keep in mind. And again, if you have an insurance agent, they always call me right away, because they ask me, what do I do? And we'll go ahead and guide them.
Yeah.
But to help you guys, if you're involved in an accident and it is your fault, that's when you have to understand your insurance policy that you have is going to essentially pay for the repairs of the person that you hit. But now, if you are involved in an accident and it was not your fault and someone hit you, you do not, and I'm going to say this again, you do not want to call your own insurance because your insurance is there to protect you when you hit someone else. Your insurance is not there to protect you when someone hits you. It will pay, but why if that's why they have insurance? Their insurance is to protect when they hit you. So if someone is involved, if you're involved in an accident and someone hits you, first thing you need to do is call the police to get a police report. Because now you're going to go ahead and call their insurance company to open up a claim, and it's going to be he said, she said, this. And a police report's going to show that person crashed into you, and it is not your fault. So the police report's going to show who's at fault. Second, the police report's also going to provide their insurance number, their driver's license number, and all the information that you're going to need in order to call their insurance carrier and open up the claim. So once you're in an accident, it's always very good to call a police, crash investigators, so they can go out and trade information. Second, pictures. Pictures is always going to tell a lot. Video, pictures of the scene, give a little explanation. People don't understand, we have computers now.
Oh my God.
So as soon as you get into an accident, record, take a picture, start looking at how the cars were damaged. Because unfortunately, I don't know if you're aware, but Miami is the insurance fraud capital of the United States.
I'm aware now.
It's horrible. So, someone could rear-end you, and then out of nowhere, it's your fault. Even though you were stopped on a red light and they hit you, it's now your fault. So you want to take pictures, show your story, have evidence. So when you open up a claim on their policy, you have sufficient evidence and information so your insurance won't go up. And now if they get into an accident into your car and they crash into your car, you open up the claim, your car gets repaired from their insurance policy, and your policy will not go up. I have so many times where I have a client that they're paying a lot of money, and they go, and I tell them, you're paying a lot of money because you have this not at fault accident. They're like, but why did my price go up if it wasn't my fault?
You used the insurance.
And I said,
you used the
if it wasn't your fault, why did your insurance pay? And they tell me, because I have insurance. This isn't why I have insurance. And I say, no. If it wasn't your fault, the other person who hit you, their insurance should have paid. And they're like, I had wished someone told me this before.
Exactly.
And I'm like, of course. Because they opened up their insurance in their own policy, now their insurance premium is higher. Because the insurance company is now saying, why, if the other person was at fault, why are you opening up?
Absolutely.
And, there's so many laws and regulations in place where the insurance company is not allowed to tell you, don't do it. Why didn't you open it up with the person who was at fault? Because it is 100% in your right to be able to claim money from your own insurance company.
Yeah.
And it is 100% in their right to be able to increase the prices. So it's a mess, and we're here to help as much as we can during this, unfortunate situation when people are involved in an accident.
Yeah. So if you are not in an accident, you don't have to give the other person's the other person your information. That's number one. Give it to the police, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're involved in an accident, very good to call for the police. Traditionally, if they ask for exchange of driver's license and insurance ID card, I would recommend doing so. It's very good to get their information. And if you see that they hit you and they want a copy of your insurance,
I would not do it, but
again, I mean, it's a fine line where you can refuse. But then again, if it really wasn't your fault, you're going to call the cops anyways, and you're going to get all the information.
Yeah.
But that should be a good, insight of saying, like, why is this person asking for my insurance? He's the one who, or she's the one who hit me. So that's when, keep an eye out, because it's crazy out there.
Yeah. Anything else do you think that I missed that is super important for people?
No, of course. I mean, other discounts I forgot to mention is make sure let me go over. There's some discounts that you guys can take advantage. A lot of the times when you try to quote or you try to, see if you can save money, you can't do it because you already passed the time. So there's a 10 or 15% discount by quoting in advance. What that means is, if I want to, today is October 1st. Oh my goodness. Today's October 1st. And if I wanted to buy a policy October 3rd, I now took away a 15% discount. or a 10 to 15% discount depending on which insurance.
Just because somebody
exactly,
was lazy.
They give you a carrier.
Yeah.
They give you a discount by shopping more than 7 to 10 days in the future. So if I know that my renewal policy for my auto is October 15th, I need to start now, because now I'm going to start receiving cheaper quotes and much, much more inexpensive quotes, because I took advantage of that quote in advance discount is what they call it.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's homeowners discount, marriage discount, good driving discount, 3 to 5 year discount. I know we also discussed, does it make sense to stay loyal to one insurance company or to also change different insurance carriers? It's a fine line. A lot of the times, the insurance companies will reward you for being with them for 3 to 5 to 10 years. And those rewards may not be strictly in price, in premium. They're going to be with benefits that no one else can give, such as the large accident forgiveness or accident forgiveness. That's something that a few carriers that we can offer give after 5 years. So after you're with an insurance company for 5 years, God forbid you get into a very bad accident. Your insurance and they pay out $30,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. You know your price is going to go up, but if you've been with them loyal for 5 years, they're going to waive it like it never happened.
They're not going to raise the monthly payment on you.
It's not going to raise. So now if we're in a situation where someone who's been with the company for 6 years and I find them a better quote, I have to tell them, listen, this is a better price, but you're going to lose your reward benefit of large accident or any accident forgiveness. And that's something that you can never add on another policy, because that's something that is only
you have to
earned.
work for it time-wise. You have to put in the time pretty much.
Yeah. So it does make sense. If you're currently with an insurance carrier for only 2 years and you don't have any real benefits, then definitely continue to reshop around. But if you're at the 4 year or 5 year mark, or you've been with them for a very long time, make sure to see what special benefits or rewards or services that your current carrier is giving you, not just in price, but in policy wording or in a lot of items that other carriers can't provide unless you've been with them for a substantial amount of time. That's something that it's priceless. So if you're going to switch to save a few bucks, you're giving up something that is, that's priceless, that you can't replace. So what else? Collector vehicles. There's also that. There's special policies for collector vehicles.
Ooh, I got a question. What about for somebody that doesn't drive a lot? They drive, like I drive once or twice a week. That's it. Talk to me about insurances that you can get that are like per mile or... Exactly.
So many different insurance carriers are going to have different types of discounts that they can apply. There are multiple insurance carriers that basically goes in brackets. If you drive less than 2,000 miles a year annually, they're going to put you in a lower bracket and you're going to get a preferred rate. And then 2,000 to 6,000, you're going to be in another bracket and you're going to get into a better rate. 8,000 to 10,000. Then the 10,000 bracket is kind of the average. Then once you start going above and way more, your price might go up. But there are many insurance carriers that don't care, which is good and bad. Meaning, if you drive a lot of miles, good. But if you're someone who drives, 200 miles a week or 200 miles a month, you're not going to receive any discounts. So that's when you might want to go to those specific carriers to take advantage of that. A lot of carriers now in the technology world do provide a kind of a discount by having an app on your phone or a device in your car to monitor your odometer, to monitor how many miles you're driving and how fast or slow or hard you brake. And those discounts can be up to like 30%. But if you drive a lot and you're driving in Miami in traffic or in rush hour all the time, there's no way you're not going to brake hard. You know what I mean? If you're driving a nice stereo in Biscayne, everybody's going to cut you off. You have to brake hard. I don't recommend you to be
You're going to get screwed.
Don't get that app because, yeah. But if you're someone that, like you said, you drive, twice a week, it's very good to have that app in your car, because then for those 5 days, it's saying, wow, he really doesn't drive this car. We're going to give him a bigger discount. So you can take advantage of that.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good at that.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you, there's a guy that actually did an experiment on it, and I don't know what company it is because I watched the video a while ago, but he was driving a minivan, a freaking minivan. Like, how are you gonna race? Like, you can't, like, is it even possible to drive dangerously in a minivan?
Anything.
And another question that I want to ask is, a lot of dealerships are pushing gap insurance onto people, and it's $800, $900, $1,200. I feel, in my humble, unbiased opinion, I think it's a ripoff. Talk to me about gap insurance that you can get for free or for $5 a month. Talk to me about that.
You hit that on the tee. Very, very good question, and I should have brought that up. So, gap insurance is important, but it depends. If you're buying a used car and you're getting a loan on the car and you're financing the car, gap insurance may not be so important. And that's mainly because you're buying a used car, so the vehicle is not going to essentially depreciate as much as a new vehicle. So gap insurance is offered many and most times from an insurance carrier. And it's going to be $5, $7, $3 a month. So it could be maybe $20, $30 every 6 months, $40, $60 a year. But now the gap insurance that the dealership offers you, I've seen some that are actually quite competitive, not that expensive, and I've seen some that they told me it's going to be $800 a year, and I'm like, what? Mine's $40 a year. I'm like, don't even bother going with that. But I've seen sometimes when I'm like $40, $50 a year, and they're like, oh, it's going to raise my price, $2 a month. I'm like, oh, then do it.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that different insurance companies has different coverages and gaps. Most auto insurance carriers are going to cover up to 125%. So if a car's worth $10,000, they're basically going to cover
12 and a half.
Exactly, 12 and a half. They're going to cover just a little bit more.
Yeah.
So if you owe 12 grand in the loan and your car's only worth 10 and it goes disappearing, that gap insurance in your Progressive or your Foremost or Allstate or any of these insurance carriers is going to go ahead and cover it. The dealerships, I've learned that their gap insurance most of the time covers up to 150%. So that's when they do provide really good coverage, but sometimes the cost does not make any sense.
Yeah, most of the time when somebody's looking to have a car insured, they're just worried that I want to make sure that I don't get absolutely screwed.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking like, okay, not nobody.
No,
Majority
exactly.
of people aren't looking like, oh, I'm gonna make some money off a Honda Civic.
Yeah, no, it's true. And then if you're putting a big down payment on your car,
you don't even need it.
You don't need gap insurance because you owe less than the car's worth. And that's something you always have to keep in mind. What is your car currently worth? If you go on KBB, your Kelley Blue Book, and you see that your car's worth is more than what you owe, then there's really no reason to have gap insurance because your car's value is here, you owe here. There's never going to be a situation where you're going to need the gap. But if you never put a down payment and your car has depreciated more than what you owe the lender, then gap insurance is quite important. And it's something that you have to see. It could be worth adding on the insurance. It could be worth adding the dealership. Again, something you always have to ask and you always have to see.
Yeah, typically what I say, if it's more than $5 a month, for gap insurance, just go through your insurance that you already have, and you only need gap insurance for like 18, maybe 24 months, until what you owe matches the market. That's it. It's not the life of the car like the regular insurance.
Yeah, and then you take it off
just a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree. And then again, if you put a $5,000 or $1,000 down payment on a car,
you won't even need it.
The loan might be less than already the value of the car. So just like he said, the most important part is seeing what the market value of your car is and then how much the loan or how much you owe left. And if they're equal, then there's no gap.
Awesome, dude. Thanks. I appreciate it a lot.
No, of course, man. Any questions you guys ever need, I'm always here to help. We're all here to help. We have a lot of producers here. We're local, so here to help.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Huge thank you for watching this video. Click here to subscribe, watch one of those 2 videos, and click the share button below the video. Did you enjoy the video? Did you find it useful? Do you think you're gonna save some money with it? Abso-fucking-lutely you will. Share this video on Facebook with somebody else. This is Dan Strong with 60 Minute Car. I'm signing out, and I'll see you in another video.